I didn't say it out loud, not at first. Not to my kids, not to the nurse, not even to myself. But deep down, I knew. This was going to be her final year. We were married for 57 years. She knew me better than anyone else in the world. We didn't need words to say the things that mattered. And yet, during that last year, the silence between us changed. It wasn't just comfortable anymore. It was heavier, slower, like the hours were stretching themselves out because they too understood that we didn't have many left. Most people think death comes with warning signs, flashing lights, sirens, alarms you can't miss. But in my experience, it doesn't. It comes quietly, it walks slowly, it shows up in the little things you could almost ignore if you weren't paying attention. She started sleeping a little more during the day. She left half her tea untouched in the mornings. The garden, which she used to love, became something she admired from a window instead of walking through with me. There wasn't one moment that told me the truth. It was the accumulation of 100 small changes. She was fading, but gently, gracefully, as if even her body didn't want to disturb anyone on the way out. And I noticed, not just the physical signs, but the emotional ones too. She didn't talk as much. She didn't make plans. There were fewer next year sentences, more long gazes at old photos, more quiet smiles when the grandchildren visited. She had started saying goodbye, even if no one else saw it. But I did. I loved her too much not to notice. I remember sitting beside her one afternoon. The window was open, and the breeze carried the smell of rain and lilacs. She had her eyes closed, but I knew she wasn't sleeping. I asked, "Are you okay?" And she smiled. Not with her mouth, but with that softness in her cheeks that only comes from years of knowing and being known. "I'm just thinking," she whispered. "About what?" I asked. "Everything," she said. That was the beginning of the shift, not just in her body, but in her spirit. She didn't say much after that, but her presence was louder than words. She began to let go, slowly. She stopped reading the newspaper. She let me answer the phone when our friends called. She stopped reminding me to buy milk. These were the subtle signs elderly people give when they're approaching their final chapter. Not because they're giving up, but because they're transitioning. I've read articles about final year signs. They talk about fatigue, reduced appetite, cognitive decline, and increased sleep. And they're all true. But what no article tells you is how heavy it feels to witness them in someone you love. How you wake up each morning afraid to look at them too long because you might notice something else has changed. How you cling to small habits, her favorite teacup, the way she hummed while folding towels, because they're slowly becoming memories in real time. But here's something I learned, something I want to pass on to anyone caring for an aging loved one. Don't wait for the decline to feel final. Start making peace while there's still life to hold. We're so afraid of losing them, we sometimes forget to love them while they're still here. If you're going through this right now, or if you've already walked this path, I invite you to share your story in the comments. Your voice might be the comfort someone else needs tonight. And if this story feels like your story, don't forget to subscribe. This space is for people like us, holding on while learning to let go. I stopped making travel plans that year. We had always talked about taking the train up the coast one more time, maybe for our anniversary, but I knew Even if she said yes, her body would say no. So instead, I canceled the world outside our door and brought the world inside it. I played her favorite records in the afternoon. I learned how to cook the soup her mother used to make. I helped her brush her hair, and I sat with her during her silences, not trying to fill them, just being there. There's a sacredness in those days. People don't talk about that part of life after 70, especially when you're watching someone slip away. But something changes in you when you realize presence matters more than doing. You stop chasing moments and instead you settle into them. One night I asked her, "Do you want me to call the girls?" She looked at me and said, "Not yet. I want this part to be just ours." That's what we forget sometimes. The end isn't always about goodbyes. Sometimes it's about the small, silent permission to hold each other without needing anything else. Looking back, I don't regret canceling the trip, or skipping the parties, or saying no to visitors. What I do regret is not slowing down sooner, not recognizing that every ordinary day was already sacred. If you've ever spent a season like this, slowing down to stay beside someone you love, tell me what moment you hold closest. Drop it in the comments below. You don't have to say much. Just a memory, a name, a feeling. I'll read them. She passed away in the early morning, just before the sun came up. The nurse told me it would be peaceful, and it was. No struggle, no gasping, just a long, quiet exhale, like her soul had been waiting for the house to go still, for the world to hush before she slipped away. I sat there beside her long after she was gone. I didn't cry right away, I just listened. The heater clicked. A bird landed on the windowsill. Her hand was still warm. And then the silence grew. There's a silence that comes after loss. Not just around you, but inside you. Your days stretch longer. Your coffee gets colder. You still make 2 cups out of habit. You reach for the other blanket at night. Grief in old age is not loud. It's not even sharp, it's just constant, like a second shadow. But here's what I've come to understand, slowly, day by day. That final year wasn't just the end of her life, it was the deepening of mine. I learned to sit still, to feel everything, to honor someone not with flowers after they're gone, but with patience while they're still here. I became less of a fixer and more of a witness, and in some strange way, I became more alive by walking beside her as she faded. If you're going through this right now, if you're loving someone who's slowly leaving, stay with them. Sit in the silence. Let them feel your presence more than your words. That, I promise you, will matter more than anything. And if this video helped you feel seen, if it gave you a little peace or a moment of stillness, please subscribe. This channel is for people who are growing older, saying goodbye, and still holding on to hope. You're not alone here.